In this video, we're going to be taking a look at these, the Asics Gel Nimbus 23. FORDY Runs. How are we all doing? Let me know in the comments, are you a big fan of Asics? I'll be very interested to know if you're an Asics fan, and in particular, whether you've had any of these, the Nimbus series. Now this is number 23. These things have been going for 23 years and they are extremely popular in terms of daily trainers and all that sort of stuff. And I understand why, but they've updated it with the 23. But is it any good, or should you be buying the 22? Let's get stuck in. Right guys, so here it is, number 23 of the Asics Gel Nimbus series. This is a very popular shoe, as I've said before, and it's a daily trainer, but it's probably more towards those sort of longer runs, max cushioning-ish sort of area. I think you can go lighter than this, and you can go more up-tempo than this, but as a daily trainer, I think this sits quite nicely, and in terms of those sort of slightly longer miles, you know, shoes that come to mind, Glycerine, Triumph, you know, they're the sort of shoes I think this goes up against. Glide Ride, see, I've got it in the video. But anyway, let's get into some of the stats and some of the features before I tell you if this shoe's any good. And firstly, the price. It is £155, which is a lot of money. It's got a 10mm drop for men's, 13 for the ladies. They believe that the ladies need a 13mm drop, and there's some science behind that, but I'm not going to go into that today. These weigh over 11 ounces for me, UK 9.5, they fit true to size. Engineered mesh upper, you've got some very cool overlays, I'll show you them in a second. You've got the heel clutching system, basically a heel counter. You've got the flight foam midsole, flight foam propel as well in there. You've got a softer gel cushioning, and that's two lots of cushion. You've got it at the back and in the front, but you can't see the bit in the front. You've got the generic specific trussic system, and I'll show you that, but I've tweaked it for the men's versus the ladies. Again, that goes back to the drop sort of thing. And then you've got the Ortholite sock liner in there. So there's the trussic system, and what Asics believes that they've designed it slightly slightly different for men versus women. It's all how all our biometrics and all that sort of stuff. Again, I'm not going to get into that today because I've not reviewed the ladies' shoe. Funny that, isn't it? Where else do we start? Okay, so in terms of updates, so we've got a lot of gel here, and I know you can hardly see it through the mud, but there is gel, 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 gel. There's also gel down here. You've got the flight foam, you've got the propel in there as well, which is very soft to touch actually. You've got this new upper on it. They've mucked about with some of the overlays, the tongue, and I've got to say, I think this is one of the thickest tongues. Let me know, do you know of a shoe that has a thicker tongue? I mean, look at it. It is massive, and it is really, really thick. Look at it. It's massive. Anyway, let me know in the comments, do you know of a thicker tongue? We've got the heel counter, which is great for stability. It's really, really, really solid in there. Have a feel of that. No, you can't because you're watching the video. But no, it is really, really solid. That is actually not moving at all, which is great, as I say, for stability. And that's what the Trussics is all about as well. It's just adding that extra little bit of helping hand while you're out there. You've got plenty of rubber on the outsole, lacing. I mean, it's Asics, so the lacing is what it is, and yeah, that's probably about it. There is loads of foam around the heel, and it feels very much like the Triumph 17. The Triumph 17 had a lot of real estate around here in terms of cushioning, and they feel like they've really gone to town on it. More so, I feel, than the previous version of this shoe. And I think actually versus the other version of the shoe, I just feel like the aesthetics, I prefer this. I think it looks a lot more modern-ish. You know, I'm not pushing the boundaries here because this is not, you know, the most awesome looking shoe in the world, but I think they've made great improvements versus the other one. The other one was very clunky and very plasticky. I think they've eliminated some of that. I think it looks good. The gel is the gel, and it does a great job, and I'll come on to how it feels in a moment. The upper is great. It's an Asics, so the upper is always great on Asics shoes. Yeah, and I think that's probably about it on how it sort of feels and looks and all that sort of stuff. But how does it perform? Right, so in terms of performance, it does exactly what you want. It is nothing that's going to set the world alight. It's very hard to pick up the pace in it, because I think a lot of that's to do with the weight, but also the structure of the shoe. It's quite a, sounds going to sound awful to Asics, but it's quite an old-fashioned feeling shoe. You know, it doesn't feel like you can pick it up, or that it wants to pick it up. It just feels like it can go and run 100 miles in a day. It is a package that's been put together very well to do what probably most everyday runners want to do, and that is go out and run 5K, train for a half marathon, and maybe, you know, go into and do some form of sort of off-trail-ish work as well, because you've got plenty of grip on there. And I just think it ticks a lot of boxes in that respect, but it is, it's boring. I mean, there's no other way. It's great to run in. I love the gel, I love the cushion, and it feels soft, and it feels cushioned, and I tell you where it really feels awesome is on a recovery day. But it's just one of the most boring shoes I've run in for a while, actually, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But running shoes have come on so far, even this year in 2020, running shoes have come on so far, and what you can get now in terms of like daily trainers and longer mileage shoes. Again, I go back to it, but like the Glide Ride with the rocker and all that sort of stuff, and that's an Asics shoe. You know, they've got so much awesome technology and so many great ideas. These sort of shoes that have been going around for like 23 years, I think, are almost being made redundant by the other awesome shoes that even Asics are making. I mean, you compare this, and I've not tried it because we can't get it here in the UK, but the Nimbus 2 Lite, which is, you know, a lighter version of this with some softer foam, and it's just a more sort of up-tempo, hippier, funkier, more 2020 looking shoe versus this. You've got the stuff from Reebok, you've got the Atreyu shoes, you've even got the Evo Ride from Asics. The new version of that looks awesome. The Nova Blast. I mean, why would you get this instead of like a Nova Blast that looks amazing? Do you see where I'm going, right? There is absolutely nothing wrong with this shoe at all. This will do, if you're a marathon trainer, half marathon trainer, or you just do part run, catch, this will do it all with ease. But, I mean, there's just such better shoes out there that could also do the job just as well, if not better, and less than £155.